for Jeff and Rick as well. As you guys they fall down a lap, and Denny's got the pace, obviously, and it looks like even the 24 maybe. Did you even think that the 5 could come back and be in contention?
No.
No.
I mean, you got to be honest. At that point, I really felt like that they were out of it. But I was also listening on the radio, and Cliff never, wavered that they were out of it, and I love that about him and his leadership. I think that there was the spark to me was a couple cautions that they kind of helped them stay in the game. Them in the 19 were sort of moving their way up there, but kind of got stuck, and then they made the 2-tire stop prior to the last one, right? And when they were hanging in the top 5, and I heard Cliff going, "We're okay here, guys. We're okay here." Now, I don't know exactly what he meant by that because we were running out of laps, but the car had speed, the car had balance. It wasn't bad, and then when that last caution come out, and I mean William Byron just those guys. They had a great year. I just hate it for them because they've been in this position last 3 years. So and that being the caution, my first reaction was, oh no man, the 24's got a problem, and then I started hearing Cliff on the radio talk about, oh, we're definitely taking 2. Don't let me put those words in your mouth, Cliff, but to me it sounded like there was no choice, no doubt, and then it just came down to how many are going to take 2 and what's the 11 going to do.
This is for Jeff and for Rick. Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. When you saw how Kyle emerged after that final pit stop and that he was ahead of Denny, did you say, we got this? Did you know, knowing Kyle and knowing how he is, did you guys feel a certain, we got this?
I'm curious about this answer.
Things were happening so fast. I just thought the race was over. And then I didn't even know when Roger came to see me, Roger Penske, I didn't know the 12 car won because I was watching the 5 car and how they were running. But it was, I know when there's a restart and you get Kyle in position, he's going to be tough because he will put the car in places that other people maybe won't, and he's got the talent to drive the car on the edge. So it was I almost jumped off the box. I mean, I was ready to call Joe and say congratulations and see Denny, and then all of a sudden here we are. We're going to win this thing, and I think I had one lap to think that. So, right, Jeff?
Yeah. I mean, wanted to see how the lineup went. He was happy with 2 tires prior to that, so felt pretty confident there. There was a nice gap between he and the 11. But you saw what Corey Heim did in the Truck Series. He was leading in the first turn almost, and so. And Denny was so good on short runs. So, for him with 4 tires against, the 2 tires being in the inside lane, being able to have all that room, I really thought he was going to go up there and wrap the apron and be right there. Maybe not the lead, but be right there. And then on the launch, I didn't think Larson got a great launch. There was a bit of a gap between the 48 in front of him, and I was like, oh, no. And then when he went, and I thought he was going to go to the middle, and wanted to, and he went to the outside, and he and the 48 got were really tight. So I was watching the 5, and him get around the outside. Wasn't even really paying attention to 11 until they came off at 2, and I said, okay, he's still navigating some traffic. I've seen it since then. I realized that the 22 was down there putting a pretty good corner together, and that kind of stalled out Denny until the next lap where he dove in there, knowing he was kind of running out of time, and then he bobbled in. It wasn't until then that I felt like we got it. But at the same time, with Kyle Larson, he even though they're screaming his ear, you got it, you don't need to do. I'm like, I think he still wants to win this thing, and he's pounding the rear bumper of the 6 and Keselowski down the back straightaway. So I do know, when we got to the middle of 3 and 4 that he had it, but it wasn't until then.